Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're taking another look at some more Quest 3 accessories. Now I've looked at tons of Quest 3 accessories, but there are so many more. So we're going to continue looking at some, and today we're looking at some accessories from a company called AMVR. Now I've actually looked at some AMVR accessories in the past for the Quest 2, and they've released more for the Quest 3, and they sent some to me so that I could show you guys. So that's what we're going to do. A lot of some of the standard accessories that you get are quite boring. It's head straps and grips, and they have sent me a head strap and they've sent me some grips, but they've also sent me something a little bit different, which I'll get onto slightly later in the video. But before we go into something that's a little bit more exciting, let's have a look at the head strap and grips. Now, here is my Quest 3, which is currently adorning the AMVR, you can see it there, head strap. And this is their sort of comfort head strap. It's not a battery one or anything like that. And it's just your pretty sort of standard generic comfort strap that you get from most brands, honestly. It feels fairly sort of decent quality. It's sort of that sort of plasticky feel, so it's quite lightweight. You've got the memory foam padding and stuff like that on the top, and some padding on the back, which is nice too. It's very comfortable. It's caused me absolutely no issues whatsoever when I've been wearing it. I've been testing it out for a little while, so I'm quite happy with it. As far as comfort straps go, it's a good comfort strap. But you may also notice that this is a slightly different Quest 3. The actual Quest 3 is the same, there's no difference there. But this particular thing on it is slightly different. I don't know if you can see this. This isn't normal, is it? This is new. When I'm wearing my Quest 3 like this, you probably can't see up this little gap because there's a little cover there. And that is because this is AMVR's face pad, which, oh my word, I've been excited to test one of these. This is the first one I've got. Because the standard face covering that comes with the Quest, it's not great, honestly. This is the standard one, and it's got this sort of material which is considerably better than the Quest 2, but it's still like not great. I don't like the shape of it. I feel like it sort of is a bit too firm on your face. I'm not a massive fan. It might last a bit longer than this one, but that is not very comfortable. So they sent me this one, which has a very similar mechanism for adjusting the size like this one does, for like sort of pulling it out for glasses and stuff like that. But it's a little bit more fiddly. I actually think this is the original is actually an easier way of doing that, even though that is probably one of the weirdest ways of doing it. This one sort of has like a weird hook mechanism that you probably can't see. Can you see? In there, there's like a sort of weird hooks that you got to sort of pull out and sort of tap into the right place, which that's a bit annoying. But you do get this cool little like nose cover to sort of increase immersion. This is a lot softer. It's like a soft leathery material, which is much more comfortable than the original one. And honestly, I think the shape of this is actually a bit nicer, and I feel like it gets my eyes slightly closer to the actual Quest 3 lenses. And the closer your eyes are to the lenses, the better the field of view. So if you're missing out on a couple of degrees of field of view, something like this might actually help you. So that attaches in all the sort of same way as the original one, as does the strap. The strap just sort of pops on the same size, and it's fairly easy to do as well. You have to sort of wiggle this sort of bit through the little feeder as well. But that's sort of fairly easy and straightforward. Now with that face covering too, they also give you another one, which is not leather, but it's a really sort of nice soft fabric, which is much sort of nicer than the original one. So if you don't like leather and you'd rather have a fabric one, which is sort of slightly more absorbent, you can just Velcro off the old one and put another one on. So it's really nice. And if you don't actually want to get the entire thing replaced, and you just want to cover up this and do something nice, AMVR also do a cover to just wrap around the original one. So you wrap this sort of rubbery thing around the device. That sounded weird. And then it covers it up just like that. And then you've got a nice sort of rubber thing. So it's much better for exercise. Oh, it's cool to the touch. But then you can sort of keep the original thing. And you have that. So thank you, AMVR. So let's move on to the next thing, which is their controller grips. Now they've actually sent me two different types of controller grips. There's one which is fairly sort of standard, and you sort of thing that you expect around the whole board, and there's one which is my favourite, and it's the thing I sort of like a lot. I really like it actually. So first let's look at the sort of standard one. So these controller grips. So first of all, we have the sort of normal controller protective cover things, and these actually come with these. So essentially what you do is you pop off the little battery cover of the remote, like so, exposing the battery underneath. You then pop your battery out, we'll get onto this, and we'll pop this new cover on. You notice this new cover, not only does it's got a couple of weird sort of things that are jutting off of it. First of all, it's got this thing that juts off up here, and then you got this little thing here. So what you then do is you put your battery back in, like so, through the little hole in the cover, then you sort of tuck that around, and you've got a little pull tab which will help you pull the battery out without having to take this thing off, so you can sort of access that. But that's not good, and that's not the cover. We're only halfway there. What you then need to do is add on the grip. So you feed your sort of controller strap through the little hole at the bottom, like so. And your controller just then sort of sits inside the strap cover like this. And what you'll notice is that where the sort of little pull tab was popping through, that sort of clips through this little hole here. You then have access to your battery through this little leather thing that goes in and sort of covers it up. So you don't have to take the whole cover off every single time you want to change the battery. But then you have your battery in there. You've got a little strap here, so you can pull that and adjust it and get it sort of to the right size for your hand, and make sure your controller isn't going to be going anywhere if you let go of it. But importantly, it doesn't actually cover any of the face, and that's where most of the tracking sensors are in this thing. So the fact that all of that is completely exposed and it's not overlapping the edges is actually really, really good. So you then get your controller, it's protected and all of the sort of around the sides and stuff like that, but you also have the grip on there, you have access to your batteries. It sort of is the perfect solution for somebody who wants to protect their controller, have a grip. It covers all bases. Now if you don't like having the thing wrapping around the outside of it, which not everyone does, there is another option, and actually the other option I like a little bit more. So what we'll do is we'll pop this little cover off, and we just have our controller here like that. You can see where I probably do need to have a little protective cover on it because I've been whacking it into things. But what we install now is a different one of AMVR's little battery covers. This one. So you pop this one on, and this one has the little hand strap attached to the actual battery thing like that. It just clips straight on, and it actually reduces the form factor of the whole controller, so you're not having to bulk it out with a big pad. You still get the grip, it's still really secure and stable, and it's not coming off your hand. Completely adjustable, completely comfortable. It's got this nice sort of grippy texture, which is really nice, and it keeps your hand in place, stops it sliding all over the place, but also allows your controller to be completely visible, completely out in the open, not massive, still fit in a lot of different other accessories. For example, I use this one with this gun stock, the one stock, and all I need to do is just sort of push it up against the side, and because it's not in a massive bulky case, that's actually really easy and it fits quite nicely. But ultimately, controller grips and face masks, they are kind of boring. They are boring, let's be honest. They're boring. That's not adding anything to your experience. Maybe the controller grips are a little bit, but it's not making it more immersive. Or maybe the face covering on your nosing is. But it's not as exciting as this next thing. So this is a golf club. I know what you're saying, it doesn't look like a golf club, but it kind of looks like a golf club. It's got the grip of a golf club, and it's got this little thing here for your controller. And this is very, very cool. Now I actually tested a different one of AMVR's little grips. Let me see if I can find it. So this is not my first rodeo with golf relating VR equipment. They sent me this one. It's actually a little extendable jobber that you can use to pretend that you're playing golf, and that's for the Quest 2. That's their Quest 2 one. But there are some serious downfalls which they've addressed in the new one. So first of all, let me tell you why you would want to use this, and it's essentially a similar reason why you would want to use something like this, a gun stock, or something like a steering wheel when you're playing VR driving simulators. It's because holding something in your hand increases the immersion so much more than just seeing something. Actually being able to feel what it will feel like is just so much of a better experience. Now there's a couple of games that I tested this out with, and I didn't just let me test it, I actually got my dad involved because he's an avid golfer. So you put your Quest 3 controller in here like so, you feed through your little strap like so, and you actually change your battery cover again. There's a lot of changing battery covers on here, for this one with this little hole. And what that does is when you feed your controller into there, the hole lines up with this hole, and then when you shut this little flap here, it locks your controller in place. Now, that's somewhat secure just like that, but it's not enough. Ultimately, if you're going to be swinging this thing like a golf club, you're going to need this to be quite secure. So you can also wrap it around like so, hook it over here onto this little thing like that, tighten it up like so, and then you have a super secure golf club attachment. Now this is compatible with a whole array of golf games. The two I tested out with is Golf Plus and Walkabout Minigolf. Now with Walkabout Minigolf, it adds to it certainly, but ultimately it doesn't make a massive difference. It's not something that I would necessarily say is necessary. Whereas in an actual VR golf game, just holding the weight of one controller really doesn't feel like you're playing golf. It just doesn't. Even if your swing's okay, it doesn't feel right. Whereas when you're holding one of these, with your VR thing on, you've got the weight. It actually is weighed out a little bit over there. And when you're blindfolded, you feel like you actually could have a golf club in your hand. It's probably slightly lighter than an actual golf driver, but it's a lot better than just holding a controller. One thing that did throw me off is that the angle is entirely different to the angle you would actually hold the controller when you're playing the game. And there's good reason for that. When you're swinging something up behind your head and you're moving it quickly, especially in a golf simulator like Golf Plus, you need it to be as accurate as possible so it actually feels real. And if it's not accurate and it's just sort of estimating, it's not going to feel like you get proper feedback when you're playing. So because this is actually facing up towards the headset, so no matter where you are in your swing, your headset is seeing all of the different tracking sensors on top of the controller. It tracks it fantastically well. So I was set up, I was playing golf, I was having a fantastic time. However, safe to say, I'm probably not the best person to actually test this out because I am terrible at golf. Now, it did take me quite a long time of practicing to get good, but that felt like that was realistic because when I've actually gone to play golf, I am also terrible. I cannot drive for the life of me. It is an absolute nightmare. Genuinely, I'm really bad at it. I don't know my stance. I probably need lessons. But hey ho, golf is expensive and I keep spending money on stuff like this. But I keep spending money on stuff like this, so I can become fantastic at golf because I have a VR headset and I spent 20 quid on a golf game. Instead of me having to pay loads of money every single time I want to go play golf, all I need to do is just religiously play this and become fantastic. However, that's not a very efficient way of testing this out for you guys, so I needed the help from someone who played a lot of golf, my father. Now, my father is somewhat of a golf hero. Now, he isn't necessarily on the PGA Tour. He hasn't got his master's jacket, but he did once win an amateur golfing trophy in the early 2000s. And that's how you know someone is fantastic at golf. And ultimately, if you can do that, you are about 1,000 times better at golf than me. So I took this round to his house, got him to test it out, and he gave me his feedback. Ultimately, the entire time he played it, he had a big smile on his face. His main points were the fact that this feels a lot lighter than an actual golf club. He noticed that the greens on the game were slightly too fast. In fact, the things he mainly said was an issue wasn't really this. He said this is actually fantastic. And once he just got used to the difference, like he would get used to using a new club, actually it was fairly accurate. So ultimately, if this gets the approval of a former amateur golfing champion, it gets the approval of me. Now, in the Golf Plus app, there's actually a calibration mode, especially for this particular accessory. So if you go on there, you can pick your AMVR Quest 3 thing, and it automatically lines it up for you, so you're not sort of, your golf club isn't pointing up at the sky when you're trying to swing. Now, I haven't tested this out on different golf games. I've only tested it out on those two, Walkabout Minigolf and Golf Plus. But ultimately, I had a fantastic time on them, learning how to play golf. There's tons of different cool games. If you want to get any of the games I spoke about in this video, or you want to get the Golf Plus game with a little discount, head down to the description and follow the links there. And guys, I'll see you in the next one.